All right, welcome back, Jets fans. Jets Therapy here today. We got a special guest up from BK. We got Brian Fay. Today, we're talking about the status of the roster right now, kind of early in the offseason, but who cares? That's what we love to talk about, right? So, welcome back. Let's do it.
All right, everybody. Yeah, welcome back to another session of Jets Therapy. We have a very special guest, absolute diehard fan, Brian. Dude, thank you for being here, man. We're going to be breaking down this roster, kind of just talking about how we feel about the draft, how we feel about some of the free agency signings, and kind of just go from there, man. How long have you been a Jets fan, dude? I'm literally meeting you right now. I mean, I'm guessing you've been a diehard fan your whole life.
Yeah, I've been throwback to the Chad Pennington days, probably even the Vinny Testaverde days. I remember watching the 98 championship game with my brother. That didn't work out. Suffered through some of the Herm Edwards, suffered through the Mangini. You know, had those 2 great years with Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan, then suffered through the butt fumble. But, I'm here for some Jets therapy, and I feel like 2023 is that year.
Yeah, man, this is gonna be the year. Well, like, what'd you think of the draft, dude? Because I mean, it wasn't the draft of last year. Honestly, we didn't get those splash picks, no Sauce Gardners or Garrett Wilsons. Well, maybe we did get some guys that can play, but I mean, not the flashiest of drafts. But like, how'd you feel just kind of overall when the last pick was made, and you're just kind of sitting there like, all right.
I think our draft was solid. And you're right. It was not a flashy draft. We're not talking all pros the first year in May. It could very well happen. I think we drafted with a purpose. Get more athletic for kind of across the board. This kid Will McDonald seems like an absolute freak. Like he looks just. I watched his hula hoop drill.
Right.
It was essentially like he was on one of those road bikes and he could just lean right through it. So he's a freak. At 15, I thought there could have been a splash with Jackson Smith and Jigba. So I had seen his name thrown around a bit, and I think we were looking for a tackle, but top 4 weren't there. I think the Jets were in a good spot to pick whoever they wanted. There wasn't a glaring weakness. So I think overall we got more athletic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think everyone like 80%, maybe you were one of the 20%, but like, I think everyone said, Will McDonald, who exactly? Like, who is this? Let me go watch his tape. Let me go see exactly what we're getting into here. And I think the Steelers/Patriots screwed us a little bit by allowing that draft pick to kind of move up and then take one of the tackles, which, I mean, they asked Saleh on one of his interviews. They were like, hey, were you guys looking to take tackle there, but you kind of had to settle for Will McDonald? And he said, no, the draft went exactly how we wanted. We got our guy. I mean, but you're not going to come out and say, yeah, absolutely, we wanted to take a tackle and we got stuck with McDonald. That doesn't really give him a vote of confidence. So I think he said everything he needed to say, but he looks like an athletic freak. And I mean, the coaching staff, honestly, what they say is we don't fill based off of need. We fill based off of best available. And that's what they did, and you can never have enough edge rushers. And this dude is going to be a menace, especially once he starts putting on weight. This dude is going to be somebody that we can rely on. I mean, it's going to be him. It's going to be Jermaine Johnson, Michael Clemens. And I mean, these guys are going to wreak havoc on that defensive line. Well, let's do that. Let's start there. Let's start with the defense. We're going to be breaking down the roster a little bit, kind of going from position group to position group. Let's start on that defensive line because Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, all they talk about is the trenches. If you can't get after the quarterback, well, then you're not going to be able to do anything. If you can't get after the quarterback, well, then it doesn't matter how good your cornerbacks are. It doesn't matter how good your safeties are. Wide receivers are going to get open at some point. So how do you think we stand currently right now with the defensive line that they have put together?
I mean, like you guys said, we coming off that draft of last year. I don't think we're going to get much better, but we got some athleticism. We got a dude who, hate to keep bringing it up. He says he's done with it, but he jumps over cars. He's an athletic freak. And I think that puts us at something like 6 edge rushers right now. We got McDonald, Lawson, Huff, JFM, depending on his mood. Who else we got in that?
Yep.
We got Quinnen, we got Al Woods. Obviously, those are interior tackles, but JJ, that's right. Yeah. Johnson. So it's like the defensive line is stacked, and and they're not all the same, right? They're not all the same type of pass rusher. You look at JFM, he's a more power, speedy guy. JJ, similar, but he's got different moves. Lawson's one of those, kind of smaller, quick, but he's also strong as an ox. McDonald's got, bend around the edge, can rush and push from any position. So
how much playing time do you think he gets?
Huh?
How much playing time do you think Will McDonald gets this year?
How much playing time do you think any of our guys get? You know what I mean?
Like, how much did Jermaine Johnson get last year?
Exactly.
So
he was like a plug and play, situational, circumstantial type of player.
But they preach pressure burst pipes, right? So it's like they want to keep guys fresh, whether you like it or not. We were still one of the top defenses last year, and again, that's a testament to our cornerbacks and our defensive line. So I think we're a little bit better than last year. I think losing Rankins is honestly going to be one of the biggest detriments. I think he was a run stuffer, but Al Woods, if he's still got a lot in the tank, he was a great pickup. And then we also got Quentin Jefferson, right? So we got a few solid vets to fill those spots that we lost. Hopefully we see some, obviously we want to extend Q. He's still on the roster right now, but hopefully we see some extended time from JFM and the likes of Huff and JJ this year again to really kind of fill those voids. But I'm feeling pretty good about the defensive line. What about you guys?
Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like, I forget what year it was. The Eagles had a line and they called it the NASCAR line, where it was speed coming from every single position, from nose tackle, from edge. I feel like we are dealing with something similar, and we have two bulldozers in the middle.
I agree.
Depth never loses games. The fact that we have 7, maybe 8 people who are in rotation, who's not going to be in rotation? The offensive line. Yeah. So second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, they're dealing with essentially fresh legs every play. I think back to the game last year where Q was yelling at the D-line coach, "Stop blitzing.
Love that.
We got this." Yeah.
That changed that changed the season, man.
Yeah, it did.
Absolutely. And then he went on and became first team All-Pro.
Is he scaring you a little bit right now? Is his contract situation scaring you right now?
No. It's May 17th, right?
Good.
I think it's pretty clear what the market is. All the D tackles got signed. It's 23, 24. He's probably looking for 25. I don't think he's going to be the highest interior defensive lineman not named Aaron Donald. He's going to be. I obviously I have no idea, but I could see him wanting a shorter contract, so maybe he gets a second bag while he's still in his prime.
I've read he wants a long contract.
Oh, really? Okay.
I've read he wants, and again, if you obviously speculation is speculation, but I've read he wants somewhere to that 4 and even maybe a 6 year, a lengthy contract.
Yeah, like a hockey deal almost.
Yeah. Maybe
look, I love Quinnen. I absolutely love the guy. Obviously, he was our best player on defense last year. Maybe one of the best player, maybe the best player on the team. The dude is an absolute stud. I want him back.
Culture guy.
The only thing that scares me a little bit is the kind of 1 year. He had one great year. He's been a solid player. Overall, dealt with a little bit of injuries early on, but he had that one great year. And do you pay a guy, because technically he should be in his prime, but do you pay a guy the bag, $25 million a year, $26 million a year, whatever he's asking for? I don't think he's going to get that, but he's had that one great year. And is that enough for him to get what he deserves? Do I think he deserves it? Yes. But I feel like there's a half an asterisk on it of just I'm a little apprehensive about giving him all of this. And sometimes some of these guys, they get that big money, man, and they're not the same player that they were. I'm not saying he's going to be that dude. And there's a little bit of like the social media. I didn't like the whole social media thing off the field of him taking the Jets off of his account. I get it. He's just trying to send a message and trying to push them along.
I think that's the new negotiating.
It is. It is.
It's I also don't even think he's gonna hold out.
Well, I mean, he's holding out right now, right? Like he's not. I mean, granted, this is voluntary.
It's not a holdout. It's not a holdout until we get to voluntaries.
Hold out. Yeah. I get that.
Yeah.
But
and
dude,
look, he wants to play with his brother too,
dude,
right?
If Dexter Lawrence got the bag, Dan, Quinnen's getting the bag, right? Like no scoff towards him, but like, I don't know. Again, maybe I just don't.
The Jets have just such a horrible history of signing their number 1 draft picks, signing those dudes that have proven themselves.
No, they have the opposite, Dan. They don't sign their homegrown talent.
They haven't
re-signed. Like Sheldon Richardson.
What did I just say?
Leonard
I said they have
Williams.
trouble signing them.
You said they have a record of signing them like and playing bad.
No, what I meant to say was they have trouble. They have trouble
yeah.
signing. They have trouble signing their guys that that actually perform, that show themselves. Like the Jets invested in them. They played well, and then they let them go because they're just looking for other talent that they can get on the deal. Yeah. So if you're gonna sign anybody to big money, it seems like it's gonna be a D tackle that has performed for you in recent years. So I don't know. I think Joe, like you said, Brian, I think Joe Douglas gets it done. I'm not scared. He wants to play with his brother. He wants to be in New York. There's a little bit of the social media tactics, and that's that. Dude, I'm excited. My most exciting player for the upcoming year on the defense side of the ball is Michael Clemens. I love that dude so much.
We forgot about Clemens. The scariest dude on that team.
Absolute stud. His press conferences, I could watch those for days. Someone asked him the question, and he just stares at them for like.
What was his one? This is like, who are you most excited to play? Or he's like, whoever wants to smoke.
Yeah.
You know what? I sometimes feel bad for the tiny little social media intern who has to like talk to this terrifying axe murderer. Like,
guy's been on the job for like 6 days. Like, hey, how did you think you played out there? And he just grills.
Yeah. He's on like summer break from Rutgers, and he just has to deal with this psychopath.
That's amazing. All right, we can talk about the D-line all night, but let's stay in the middle of the field. Let's move to maybe a little bit of a vulnerable spot. Let's move to the linebacker core. We got some vets, we got some young guys. How are we feeling about, where we are in the middle of the field? Obviously, CJ Mosley's coming off of a Pro Bowl season. He's going to be the veteran out there. He's going to be the guy that's talking the most. But how do we feel about him and kind of some of these other guys that we've either signed, like Quincy Williams, or some of the guys we still have in the roster, like Nasruddin and whoever else?
Yeah.
I think this is the biggest question mark. It just is. I kind of feel like we ended the year pretty high on the linebacker core. CJ Mosley is a stud, and I'm glad we didn't mess with his contract to get a certain trade that we'll talk about later. He's a stud. He literally runs the whole locker room from what I've seen. I think that second linebacker though is a question mark.
I mean,
Quan is still an absolute question mark right now. He just met with the Steelers. I mean, we're not exactly sure what's going on. I think he wants to be a Jet, and he performed like a Jet. He had injuries. Obviously not last year. He played great and he stayed healthy, but in the past, that I'm sure that's a little bit.
First year he played all like 16 games or all 17. Like first year he played all like
but dude,
for a while.
If you continue to have, and like a lot of people like to say that we don't have speed at the linebacker position. I mean, Quincy Williams is one of the fastest linebackers in the NFL.
Yeah.
His 40 time is unbelievable. So, I mean, if we bring back, everybody I talk to and everybody I see wants to bring back Quan. So hopefully we're able to get that done. But yeah, this is a little bit of like, hey, does CJ still have it? Because last year you saw him. I mean, he was still a Pro Bowler, but you saw a little bit maybe of him losing a step, maybe just a step. So you hopefully he doesn't regress. Yeah, we'll have to see.
I think some of the young guys. I think part of the reason we don't have Quan re-signed was last year he got a ridiculous deal. He was playing for like the league minimum.
Right.
And he definitely outperformed that contract. But also I think they have faith in some of the younger guys like Jamie and Sherwood. in the limited play time, he played pretty well. He doesn't miss tackles. He's where he's supposed to be. So maybe it's showing some faith in that, or maybe I don't know, maybe like sorry to even mention this, like a Jamal Williams hybrid. Like Chuck Clark seems like he is an in the box safety.
Yeah,
Who's a little bit. Yeah. So I do think they are working on signing Quan, but he's probably wanting to play for what he's worth.
Yeah.
And maybe they're just not there yet, but I don't know.
Yeah.
The linebacker core is questionable.
Yeah. I mean, I love, I think there's a significant drop off in production and quality after Mosley and Quincy, right? Like Mosley's top tier. I've always been a Mosley fan. I want him to retire a Jet. I was hoping we would restructure and lengthen his deal or give him some sort of an extension. So, because I think he's coming up on his last year, right? Is this his last year of his deal, or maybe he's got 2 more left? I can't remember exactly. Sure. I know we're getting close to the end of it, but was happy to see Quincy, like you said, dude, speed guy. One of the, like every tackle, I feel like he's breaking the opposing player. Like he hits hard.
Yeah, he's got a great highlight reel.
But I will say, like, we seem to love, and I agree, that's probably why we haven't signed Quan yet. He probably wants a little bit higher than we're willing to pay for our 3rd string linebacker. And 2, like Saleh is known for trying to develop those younger like linebackers. And he really loves that like weird box safety linebacker hybrid player, right? We look at Hamza, you look at Sherwood, like they're that kind of like smaller prototypical can run back in coverage. We look at even like Zaire Barnes that we just got. So it's like maybe we're trying to fill that 3rd spot with a rotational production. I don't know. I do agree. I think it's our weakest point of our defense right now. But again, I'm not worried. If Mosley and Quincy can stay healthy this year, I think they're going to be the 2 for the most of the plays and most of the downs. So
the main thing I'm worried about, and I'm not going to say it, is CJ Mosley getting hurt. But I'm not going to say that out loud. But I'm very scared about CJ Mosley, because if he gets hurt, which I won't say, I'm very concerned, because that dude, like you said, Brian, he is the heart and soul of this team. He's the heart and soul of that locker room. He gives every pregame, pep talk speech. He gets the boys riled. Everybody looks to him for like, what type of football player am I supposed to be? Look at CJ Mosley. That dude works harder than anybody else in the field.
Yeah.
Man, I hope he stays healthy at his age. What is he, 31 or something? 32, 31? Is he 30?
Might even be older than that.
Might even be younger than that. I don't know.
Okay.
He's 30.
Well, whoever he is.
He's 30.
He's 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's right in the middle. I'm not going to say it.
But like last year, I mean, he got hurt the year before. Last year he came back and like, I think you said it, and he dropped in production a little bit, but maybe, he went through one of those, like he lost 15, 20 pounds, like transformed the style of player he was. So I'm excited to see him in another year. He still led the team in tackles last year. So I'm excited.
I'm also not going to talk about the fact that he's probably the reason we lost that Bills game when he jumped over the center, but I'm not going to talk about that. Because I don't
know why you got to bring that up.
Forgot about that.
That was the worst thing.
I must have wiped that out of my memory.
Yeah,
that was the worst thing. That changed the whole entire game, and it was so uncharacteristic. Uncharacteristic, is that the word? Of CJ Mosley. I mean, it was like, wait, what are you doing? Yeah, whatever. All right, let's move to the safeties.
And then cornerbacks.
Yeah, we'll go safeties quick. I mean, we pick up Chuck. What a great pickup. I love him from Baltimore.
Solid vet addition.
Team guy, like Brian was saying, the guy can move around the field a little bit. Pick up Chuck. You still got Whitehead there, who needs to be able to tackle a guy this year instead of just hitting guys with his shoulder, thinking that he can run through them, because obviously he can't. And dude, I think Tony Adams is a little bit of a dark horse, so we'll have to see.
Everybody's talking about Tony Adams, man, being that starting safety. We seem like we got the faith in him. I think if linebacker is our biggest question mark, I think safety is our second biggest question mark, like right up the that back end spine of the defense. But again, I love the addition of Chuck Clark, almost like feels to me like that Quan pickup last year, right? Like obviously we got him a little earlier in the year, but solid vet. I hope we see, and I think we will see a second year bounce from Whitehead. I do agree. I think last year was a little bit of an anomaly for him. Just couldn't tackle, didn't make, maybe adjusting to the defense. I'm not really sure what it was. But then, yeah, we got, Ashton Davis, who knows? Maybe he's not what we all think or want him to be, right? But like,
not about the Badger.
The Badger. But yeah, I agree. I think safety is another questionable group, but we'll see. We've got players on the field, but
yeah.
What do you think, Brian?
I think safety, yes, it is. We just don't know what we have in safety.
Yeah.
They ended up playing a lot of too high last year. And I don't think, I legitimately don't think that's what the defense is going to look like this year. I don't think it's going to be too high safeties a lot of the time. We got essentially 2 of the top 5 cornerbacks in the league.
I agree.
Statistic.
Yes.
And if Tony Adams can play center field, I think we're going to see kind of a different look at safety. That being said, I do think it is a question mark. They're really high. I forget the kid's name. They're really high on the undrafted free agent from Florida. They gave him a bunch of guaranteed money, which is kind of rare for.
Is that Waters? Waters or Dean?
Waters? Texas Tech dude?
No, a kid from Florida. I forget his name. I was scrolling on Twitter before.
Is it Bernard Converse from LSU?
No.
Because we drafted him.
Get back to me on it. This is
Trey
great
Dean, baby. He's from Florida. Trey Dean.
Probably Dean.
I got the roster. I got the roster pulled up. It's Trey Dean. All right. Yeah,
Gordon just went through every safety.
I went through every rookie safety.
That was actually pretty impressive, honestly.
Guys, I'm looking at a list.
No. Don't tell all of our viewers that.
Yeah.
You need to make believe that you have every single player, every single number, and where they're from by heart.
They're all up here. But yeah, I agree. And Brian, to your point, so moving out, let's just start covering, because if our cornerbacks are as good as they, again, if they jump up again, do we need world beaters at safety, right? We've got, I'm sorry, but probably I'm going to say we've got the best cornerback in the league in Sauce Gardner, right?
Not according to that list that's floating around on Twitter.
Yes, I saw that.
Unfortunately, we're just not as good as the Dolphins cornerbacks,
Oh yeah, that list.
Saw that.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Maybe Xavier Howard 4 years ago and Ramsey 2 years ago. Ramsey, I can't, he's still a top cornerback.
He's a dog.
He's still a dog. But Xavier Howard, he's lost a step or two. So
yeah.
That'll be
is he still a starting quarterback in the NFL? Yes. Is he a top tier quarterback? Yes. He's not as good as DJ Reed.
He's not.
It's just
no. And
DJ Reed is
put some respect on DJ Reed's name. Put some respect on his name.
The fact that he missed the Pro Bowl, the fact that he didn't get voted for the Pro Bowl and he didn't get his accolades and he was vocal about it.
Yeah,
I was
upset. He should be.
Yeah,
he's a top 10 cornerback in this league. You're not going to change my mind on that. So we've got him. We've got Sauce. We've got Michael Carter too, as a perfectly serviceable nickel. Inside the guy.
Eccles is still in there.
Eccles is still in there. So,
they just re-signed a preseason favorite, Javelin Guidry.
Yeah, Javelin Guidry, dude.
Jet's Twitter is all about him.
Javelin Guidry.
You guys know who I'm about to say. You know who's looking like we shouldn't sign Sauce Gardner because we have this guy, and then we haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
Bryce Hall. What happened, dude? He was our guy.
I'm curious if the injury, you know what I mean? Because we drafted him. He got injured his senior year. Yeah. So lost it, the bump up to pros and a little bit from the injury.
But he was pretty good. He
was pretty good.
Yeah.
Does
he move up? Does he try to move up to safety? You know what I mean? I don't know.
That could be interesting. I could also see that room just being so talented. He could be a 53 cut,
It'd be a snip,
which is wild because he's kind kind of a rare talent.
Nice guy, like everything
guy.
I've seen, everything I've heard.
Dude, he had a
great
lot
guy.
of features on One Jets Drive. He had a lot of features last year. He's a family guy. He's a Christian. I think he came in. I think Sauce like rolled his ankle in the last game of the year last year, and I think he came in for like 2 plays or something like that. I think that's literally the only playing time he got.
Yeah. Well, he's an outside guy, like strictly, right?
Right.
So
he got burned in what was it in the preseason? Like there were a couple plays where you were like, oh my God, like he just got lost.
Yeah, I think he might be a 53 casualty, unfortunately.
And I would imagine there are 15, 18 teams in the league that would try to snap him
right up.
Yeah.
And that's something that we saw last year, right? Like we've never been a team where players get cut and teams snap them up in a few days. I think there were like 5 or 6 players that got cut and literally picked up the next day by teams.
Yeah, within hours.
Dolphins recruiting literally everybody from this year. So
they got 5 former
Miami
Dolphins.
Jets South.
Miami Jets, baby.
The cornerback room it's absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
It really is the kind of focal point of our defense, as it should be. So like when all these talking heads on ESPN or whatever, they're talking about Sauce Gardner specifically, and they also don't realize they're talking about DJ Reed, and that like the front end of our defense often gets overlooked.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I mean, so let's just, I think that kind of wraps up the defense. I mean, last year, I forget exactly where we finished, but like we played like a top 5, top 3 defense the entire season. So
yeah,
but I also, again, don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Like, I feel like we got very lucky on the defensive side of the ball with injuries last year. And we just played very, very well.
Yeah.
So again, I'm excited to see. I would love to see Quan get picked up. Want to see Q get extended. We'll see if we pick up any other guys. I think I saw that Miles Jack is available right now, so maybe we get him on a low veteran deal, something like that. I mean, he's played with Solid before, so I don't know. Maybe he's kind of a guy we're looking at to fill that vet depth space. But
it would be the same exact signing as Quan last year in July.
Exactly.
Overall defense, I'm still super high. Like you're right. We were 3 or 4 in scoring defense. We had no turnovers.
Right. That's the thing. We got to jump on the ball.
You see a lot of defenses fall off year to year because like they got lucky or relied on turnovers. The Jets got very few turnovers. That was all just straight up stopping another team.
It was literally just 3 and outs.
Yeah. And I mean, that's so look at the guy like we just got, McDonald, right? Like that's a strength of his, stripping the ball. So
dude,
I gotta think that's a focus for this year. I
don't know what happened. What was it like through like 5 games or something like that? We had like 3rd or 4th most takeaways, and then it was like 0, like for the next 6 games or 7 games or something like that. And the other crazy stat was like I think we had like we were up there in like top 5 of forced fumbles, and then literally last and recovered. Like we couldn't pick up the ball. Like we were forcing all of these fumbles and we just couldn't pick it up. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah. Well, those were a lot of like Quincy Williams just popping somebody into next week and the lineman falling on that ball.
Yeah, exactly.